Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 10 of our F1 Manager 24 Let's Play. Yes, we return this weekend here for the Spanish Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Montreal, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. We actually had quite a decent race out in Canada. Got a couple more points on the board, which has opened up the gap over Haas and Williams just behind us. Annoyingly, Daniel Ricciardo got more points on the board in the V-Carb, so the gap between us and them has now opened up to 10 points in the championship right now. But this weekend, though, finally, we have got some new upgrades going on the car. We've got some front wing manufacturing complete. We've also got some suspension that is going to be completed as well there. So finally able to bring some big upgrades to the car. As you can see, we are in desperate need of a few new parts as well. A lot of parts on both cars, I think, are getting rather worn out at this stage of the season. But as we are nearly at halfway, though, things are, starting to slowly shift in the right direction there. We've got a contract response needed from Ollie Goethe. Again, I'm still leaving him on red. I apologise, Ollie. I sent you the wrong contract, so unfortunately, I think you're going to be rather upset with me, as I think that is going to basically mean that he's done with us, I think, which is a bit of a shame. I would like to try and get some proper junior drivers into the team at some point soon. At the moment, though, we just haven't really got the money. As there we go, Ollie Goethe is fed up, and his F1 dreams are going to have to wait just a little bit longer there. So, new front wing has been manufactured. Hopefully, obviously, like I said, we're going to be able to get those other bits and pieces sorted as well. We are in desperate need of some more cash. That seems to kind of be the big problem at the moment this season, is we've got no cash reserves right now. We've got $487,000, and we haven't even been able to use most of our wind tunnel or MAU hours either recently, just because of how little we've got on the car there. So we've got... Have we got a different rear wing? I think we have only got... We can not get any spare rear wings. I think we might have a bit of a problem if we've got no spare rear wings. So we can only do one. It will be done in time for the Grand Prix this weekend. But we are basically all out of money. Luckily, that's okay. And on the second car then, Lawson as well will install the one replacement there. And we will actually get him the new suspension as well onto the car. In fact, we'll do the new suspension on both cars. And obviously, we'll try and make sure that we get both new front wings on both cars. There we go. So that's already installed then on both of the cars. So hopefully, that's going to see a little bit of a performance buff. We need to get a new ERS onto the car as well. So I think we're going to take a grid penalty before the end of the year. How is Yuki's car looking powertrain-wise? He's all okay, so I guess that's good. You can see in terms then of overall performance, we're getting there. We're still 17th and 18th best, apparently, which is a little bit of a shame. But I think slowly but surely we're, moving up the order. And like I said, once we get a bit more money in the reserves as well, and we can actually try and do some upgrades on the car, that would be really, really useful there. We just need a big chunk of cash to come in and hopefully sort us out quite nicely. So there we go. We just about got the target achieved. And we got no mandatory activities as well there. So new rear wing as well. So we got $650,000. I don't think that's enough still really to do anything here. But I guess we're going to try and see if we can design some new parts. Or we can research some new parts ready for next season. I don't know how much they cost. More than we have money right now. Will that same be said for the design? Yes, it will. So we're going to have to wait another weekend before we can really do anything like that. It's been a tough opening few races of the season. So yeah, we need to try and get some upgrades going when we can. But yeah, we always knew cash was going to be tight this first season. So yeah, we need to try and get some more money on the board. The board confidence, I mean, they're satisfied with everything. We are just below our target currently as well there. So we're getting $4.6 million a month. Is there anything else sponsor-wise we can try and do before we head out this weekend? I don't believe there really is, as currently we've got 38% of the cost cap remaining. And to be fair, our income is better than our outgoing, so we're doing okay in that regard. But we are still spending a lot of money so far this year. Let's take a look then in the inbox. Rear wing has been manufactured. let's do a sponsorship plan then, and we'll try and see whether there's any other activities we can do. So if we do race day appearance for Liam, is there any... There's no cash we can do. I guess this is going to generate some extra money? Maybe? I don't know. No, I think, yeah, we can't do anything else really at the moment, can we? Yeah, we've got no mandatory activities coming up by the team either, so that's a little bit of a shame. But I guess we're just about going to be able to achieve that then. So, yeah, let's head out then here to Barcelona. Yeah, I think we've done everything we can to kind of achieve the minimum that we need to still to keep the sponsors happy.
Thank you for joining us for the Spanish Grand Prix here in Barcelona. The first Grand Prix held here was won by Nigel Mansell after a wheel-to-wheel battle with Ayrton Senna. But who will follow in his footsteps this weekend? In the last round, Max Verstappen flew to victory, the Dutchman proving that he can be absolutely unstoppable when he's in such fine form. The weekend begins here.
Well, here we are then, back in a very sunny Barcelona. Obviously, this circuit, one of the most high downforce on the calendar. And to be fair, we almost got points out of Monaco. So I'd like to believe, you know, we've had a good run of form in recent races. I'd like to think, you know, maybe, just maybe, we could try and get ourselves some points here today as well. I mean, basically every weekend we come in hoping that something's going to be possible with the car. But you kind of never really get an idea until we get into qualifying. So yeah, we'll wait and see as to how we go there. Obviously, really trying to sacrifice straight line speed. We're trying to work out just how much of everything else we need to get away with it. Run plans, I think, are going to have to be slightly longer here. We're going to go 18 and 17 laps respectively. But yeah, let's get both cars then out onto the circuit. Hopefully, we can just get a rough idea of what we're looking for. So we'll send them both out pretty much as soon as the clock is on the board. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this, of course. Quickly as well, I forgot to mention it in the intro. We are getting incredibly close now to 3,000 subscribers on the channel. So if you are enjoying this series, or the MotoGP, or anything else we're doing, then I would greatly appreciate if you hit that sub button as well there. But yeah, let's just start simming forward then. Rookies in. Hadjar there replacing Perez this time out. Award as well. I haven't actually checked Formula 2 and Formula 3 recently. So I need to see what's going on with them at some point there. It's Jack Crawford and Felipe Drugovich in the Aston Martin. That is quite an interesting call. So, this track, though, I think is going to be about tyre management, to be honest. A bit like you find in F1 24. It's a really, really tricky circuit. Tyre temperatures really do get warm here. So I think harder tyres are likely going to be the way to go throughout most of the weekend. But yeah, no chance of rain or anything like that. So hopefully we're going to have a bit more of an entertaining race than we did last time out in Montreal. That was, yeah, the wet races for some reason inside this year's game tend to be a little bit boring. When in previous years they have often been actually quite crazy and entertaining. I'll never forget, I think it was on F1 Manager 23, Oscar Piastri got his first ever win because we had a red flag during changeable conditions. And the AI, they all then restarted the race on intermediates when it was a dry circuit. So Piastri was able to go through from like 11th on the grid to the lead by about turn 3 in Spielberg. But yeah, happy memories from years gone by. I mean, we've had some happy memories so far this season, but nothing quite to those highs so far, either in this or in the Ferrari career mode. Round 3, the edited video will go live tomorrow as well. If that's something you guys are checking in on as well, because it is very good fun. So there we go. Tsunoda and Lawson both getting somewhere with the car. So we've got too much traction, it would appear, which is, again, a little bit odd inside this game. But straight line speed, though, he's pretty happy with. So I guess we'll go like that. Just try and tweak a few things around. I mean, oh, there we go. If we go like that, really high rear wing, obviously we can afford to run actually quite high front. I think we need more front downforce than rear, don't we, here? As braking stability is mainly affected by tyre camber. So we'll go like that then with Liam. Hopefully he'll be able to fix that up and get it working for him. Tsunoda as well, actually very happy with the car. But again, too much traction, weirdly, which again is rather peculiar inside this game. So we'll go like that with Yuki. And hopefully, yeah, smaller tweaks needed. I feel like we are getting there with this game as well. Just tweaking the setups, fine-tuning things as best as possible. As Rotoma Miata going for a spin down at turn 1. What's he gone and done?
Not a mistake they'll want to make again.
I love the way the camera goes fuzzy when they do something like that. Like, it's either the biggest crash you've ever seen, or it's the 1980s. Like, camera technology has moved on pretty well since then, F1. I mean, we didn't get anything like that for Gasly's monster shunt back at Suzuka, did we? Where he went through the Armco. So, yeah, that is still easily been the biggest crash I've seen on this game so far. That's up there with the crash I had at Albert Park. Inside F1 24 as well. But 25 minutes left of free practice. Both drivers settling in quite nicely, actually, into a rhythm. Of course, they've got a couple of new car parts to learn as well. So hopefully, you know, they're going to be able to gain some extra valuable information and data from all of that as well. Again, obviously, I've been watching some other videos. And apparently, one of the best ways to kind of leapfrog your way up the order is basically just to focus on research for Season 2. I'd still like to try and beat VCarb this year. But yeah, push comes to shove, then that's not too much of a concern as tyre life. I mean, yeah, we are shredding the tyres in this session so far. Hopefully, Liam is going to be able to provide us with a little bit more feedback before they completely... And we got a puncture. Damn it, man. Okay, so he's going to have to come back in. Sonoda is not particularly happy with the tyres either. But we'll wait and see until they go. Again, he's got too much traction. How little traction do you want in a Formula 1 car? I mean, Barcelona, I figured was going to be quite a difficult circuit for that, but apparently not. So we'll go like that then, and we'll get him onto a set of the mediums to see him through for the rest of the session there. So hopefully Yuki's not going to have the same luck. Hopefully he's actually going to be able to make it at least close to the end of his stint before those tyres decide to blow up, although admittedly they are getting pretty low yet again. So, yeah, I think we'll just call him in. I don't want to do any extra damage to the car or anything like that there. But Sonoda, we can see he's getting there as well, which I guess is nice. So we'll upgrade that. Everything else is looking pretty good, though. He's apparently just not quite happy with the traction still, which is a little bit strange. So there we go. Setup's pretty much sorted. I think I'll see you guys in qualifying.
Welcome to qualifying. Let's find out if all that practice will pay off for the drivers.
Teams often bring upgrades to Barcelona, so the qualifying order could be a little shaken up. Cars need to be well balanced in both high and low speed corners to set a good lap here.
Now we see Sauber's driver there, Karun. How do you think they'll be feeling?
It hasn't been a great showing from the team's drivers so far. Neither will want to be left behind, and I'm sure they'll both be looking to pull ahead today.
Hold on tight, because we're getting underway.
I didn't realise that Lawson was already going to be abandoning us and heading over to kick Sauber for the rest of the year, but apparently Karun Chandok and Crofty know more than I do about what's going on there. But as we make our way then into qualifying, both drivers pretty happy with the setup. Now Sonoda reckons he doesn't have enough traction, which of course he doesn't. So we'll just try and make some minor little adjustments there. That should pretty much perfect it, I reckon, as close as we sensibly can get. Maybe just one extra click of the wing now. Don't really want to try and gamble too much within there, but hopefully everything is going to be about bang on. And Liam there as well. Not enough straight line speed, apparently. So if we go like that, pretty much everything now is going to be perfect there. So both cars pretty much ready. So let's head out then into Q1 here. Like I said, I've got no idea whether this is going to be a good session for us or not. But obviously the most important thing is that we just try and get out in some clear air there. So we're going to send out both cars quite early on. Of course, yeah, if we can just try and get through on one lap, then I'd be rather happy. Sonoda looks like he's not going to get held up, which I guess is good. Although Verstappen, yeah, admittedly, is only making his way through turn 3 then. Liam might have to navigate a couple of extra cars, but I'm hoping, you know, as we're back in Europe now, we can start trying to build up his confidence inside the car as well there. As, yeah, Yuki, I think both of them are going to have to deal with a little bit of traffic on their runs, but hopefully Verstappen, we might be able to overtake down the DRS straight. Hopefully he's going to be out of the way by the time we get there. As good split one time by Yuki Tsunoda for 22.4. Again, yeah, we're just going to be trying to compare Liam to those times his teammate can set. And you see 23.4. So, pretty good, actually. Oh, no, he's a second away. Of course he is. So that's a bit annoying there for Liam Lawson. I mean, how on earth you lose a second through the first sector here? I will never quite understand. As Yuki, yep, Verstappen luckily is not going to be in the way. So it might be the case that Yuki just gets through immediately on one run. Liam there might be struggling just a little bit more still, as we've got yellows out for some reason. And Liam Lawson's made a mistake. Of course he has. Let's take a look. Running wide through turn 8.
Now this happens down at turn 8. And nearly, just running wide. Really, they must be careful.
Yeah, and that kind of thing over that sausage curb can do a lot of damage to the car as well there, so we've got to be really, really careful with it. Yuki Tsunoda, though, making his way out of the final corner. Perez has set the benchmark on a 12.5. We are going to split the Red Bull and the Haas man there, as Lawson then making his way down through the final couple of corners. I mean, he's a long way off, isn't he, right now? So, yeah, 31-1 middle sector against Yuki Tsunoda, who did a 29.7. Yeah, Lawson 4 seconds off the pace right now. That is really not ideal. Not what we need to see. Well, the only person Liam Lawson seems to have done a better job, that is Ratomo Miata right now, as he makes his way then back out onto the circuit, ready to start his final lap here in anger. Tsunoda, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but he's actually gone fastest of the non-big teams here, so it looks like the car, again, might have some really good pace in it, and if we can just start threatening for that top 10 week in, week out. Well, I mean, we have done at Imola, we obviously almost did at Monaco, and obviously we did in Canada. I think we've actually got a pretty good race car here, as you can see, immediately Lawson finding another 0.4 of a second through Sector 1. It's not going to put him, you know, in line with Yuki or anything like that, but hopefully at the very least we can try and get both cars into Q2 there, as Mercedes dives out of the way. Luckily not going to cost us much time at all, and I'm hoping we should be basically safe now from slower cars there. We've got a Haas and an Alpine just up in front still. That might cause a few problems, but yeah, it's Liam Lawson then coming towards the end of Sector 2. 29.9 as well, middle sector there, so he is finding more time. You can just see Haas car getting in the way through the final couple of corners. Come on, man, move! Move! That is completely ruined us. Completely ruined us. And Liam Lawson, again, cannot get any luck inside this series right now. Through the final corner he's going to go. It's going to be a 1 minute 15.7. He does improve. He stays last place. I reckon Magnussen, that's got to be a penalty there. Or either Magnussen or Hulk, one or the other. That should be a penalty. That is disgraceful. Liam Lawson's bad luck this season then set to continue. They're 22nd on the grid for our second driver. Really, really disappointing there. You can see Yuki only a 10th away from Fernando Alonso, so he might just be in the fight to try and see himself into Q3. But I think, yeah, if we can end up P11 on the grid here, I would be quite happy. Here we go then, we'll ride with Yuki Tsunoda now. We can give him all of our focus as we head into the second session. And immediately you can see, you know, the likes of Williams as well really do seem to have caught up in recent times. That Albon only 3/10 away from George Russell, who admittedly, that's not been a bad benchmark by George. We want to look for a high 1 minute 13 here if we want any chance of seeing Q3. But yeah, let's wait and see what we can do through the first sector split then. It is going to be 22.8 there, so a little bit slower than our previous lap, as immediately we're going to get held up by VCarb. The rivalry runs deep between ourselves and VCarb right now in this series. Obviously, Yuki, we're going to give him 2 runs out in Q2. We do want to try and save 1 set of the soft compound tyres, though, ready for the Grand Prix. So yeah, this first lap, I think, is going to serve as a bit of a banker there, as Leclerc, a 1:13.1, just slowly bringing that benchmark down at the front of the field. Be nice to see whether they can fight with Red Bull and McLaren this weekend, because Ferrari seem to be the more consistent team of the 3. But not often the quickest there. 29.6 middle sector for Yuki, so he's getting still decent pace out of the car. I don't think this is going to be as good, though, as his Q1 run, so I'm hoping at the very least we slot in between Albon and Hulkenberg. Is out of the final corner, 14.3. I believe that's exactly where we've gone there. There we go. 3/10 away from Alex Albon, though, was a little bit gutting. So we need to find a bit more on the second run. Bit to avoid some of the traffic here. We're going to head out a little bit early for our final run in Q2. I can just see one of the Williams there making his way out of the pit lane. And I'm hoping we might just be able to get a little bit of a slipstream off a Lance Stroll in front of us as well. Though hopefully that car is going to stay out the way for both of us as we make our way in towards that first corner. We're just hopefully going to see a move into shot. There we go. It's an Alpine, sorry. not a Williams there, but Tsunoda, he's in a pretty good spot here. He needs 0.3 of a second to get him up where we want him there. As Alonso and Hamilton even, the pressure is on them right now as they come through towards the final runs there. 22.8. It's a minor improvement for Yuki through that first sector, but hopefully we're just going to find more and more time as the lap unfolds there. I think that's, well, practically nothing up through sector 1, but are we close enough to Stroll? I don't think we are. So I wonder if we accidentally just timed Yuki's first run in Q1 perfectly, and he was able to claim quite a nice slipstream off of some of those other vehicles. We're looking for like a 29.4 or 29.5 through the second split, and it is going to be a 29.5. That's pretty good. We are going to be right in the fight then as we make our way through the final couple of corners. At the very least, like I said, I want to get ahead of Ricciardo and Alex Albon here. Yuki Tsunoda making his way in towards those final couple of turns. Both of them pretty much entirely flat out there for the 2-2 Motorsports driver, but up towards the line. Are we going to see an improvement? It is not going to be anything worthwhile. 0.005 of a second in the end. He bottled Sector 3, and at the very best, we're going to be lining up P12 on the grid here. That is heartbreaking. There we go, P13 on the grid then come the end of qualifying. Max Verstappen, I mean, look at those lap times there. The Dutchman comfortably out in front of everybody else. Yeah, 1:11.9 is a ridiculous time to set around this circuit there. Ricciardo, though, really did save a lot of pace ready for the end of the session. He will go through up in P9. Albon in 11th, though, ahead of Hamilton and ourselves there. So we've got a lot of work to do as we head into the Grand Prix. Strategy is going to be critical here. Let's get into it here from Barcelona.
Stage is set here in Barcelona. 66 laps around a track that the drivers know inside and out.
Barcelona is a circuit with plenty of history under its belt. It was here, after all, that multiple world champion Max Verstappen secured his very first F1 victory back in 2016.
Barcelona is a tricky circuit to balance. The technical corners demand high downforce, but that means adding stress to tyres and potentially limiting race strategies if teams go too far. It's race day with the teams and drivers ready and raring to go.
Well, here we are then, ready down on the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix then. Let's take a look. I assume it was Verstappen that took pole. Yes, he did. But admittedly, everyone seemed to get slower right towards the end of qualifying. Luckily for us, Ricciardo only P10, so it might be that we can try and fight him as the afternoon goes on. As what on earth is that strategy? Why do the team believe a 3-stop is going to be the viable way to go here? I'm not convinced that's the right call. Have we got any sets of we've only got one set of mediums, which is a bit of a problem. So it might be worth trying to go medium to hards. I mean, and then how far does it reckon sensibly we could take the mediums? 24 laps, then get the hards quite deep into the Grand Prix. I mean, why are those hard tyres falling off? Oh, because they're running like that, aren't they? So if we go like that, try and get those to like lap 50, and then a 6-lap blast towards the end of the Grand Prix there. The pit lane is quite a long one around this circuit, so we're going to try that with Yuki and Liam Lawson. Then we're going to try, I think, yeah, with Lawson. Again, I hate doing it to him, but I think we're just going to start on the hard compounded tyre and basically just see how far we can go. Basically use it to gain some data for the rest of the weekend there. As I mean, yeah, I think everybody's only got softs, haven't they? One set of hards, one set of mediums. So yeah, Liam, we're basically just going to try and take you as far as we can, sir. And then you're going to try and take those soft tyres to the end of the medium tyres, sorry, to the end of the afternoon. It's an aggressive strategy, but yeah, I think we're basically just using him for data once more. No chance of rain or anything like that. This is a real tyre wear killer there. As I think, to be honest, I'm not even sure I want to run extra fuel either. I think it's probably worth just leaving it where it's at right now. So yeah, let's get on with it though. It's time for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Welcome back, everyone. The final preparations are now being made as we head into the race. Zhou Guanyu will know exactly what's expected of him in this race.
Not where they'd want to be in P21, but honestly, they've just got to give it their best shot.
But remember, anything can happen in Formula One. One of the oldest races on the Formula One calendar. This is the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
Well, there we go then. We can hope for a nice clean getaway down in towards turn 1. But I think, yeah, strategy today is going to be the big overriding factor here. There's always a good chance of a safety car as well at Barcelona. There is not much room for error around this circuit. So it's going to be interesting to see how we get on. Tsunoda just trying to cover off the inside down towards that first corner. But yeah, both drivers then on the harder tyres of the 3 sets. Let's see what everyone else is doing. Max Verstappen on mediums, Lando Norris on softs. So we've got medium, soft everywhere at the moment. Hard tyres for Stroll and Lawson only. So both of those two trying to go really deep into the Grand Prix then. But we know how difficult it is to overtake here. To be honest, for us, I'd rather just see Ricciardo drop back slightly early on in the race. But I think, yeah, this is going to be one where you've just got to be sensible and you've just got to try and stay out of trouble there as well. Make sure that Lawson, as long as he can hang on to the back of the rest of the field, I want him just to nurse those tyres a little bit early on and basically try and take him as deep into the Grand Prix as he can go. If we get a safety car or something like that, it could prove really, really useful for him later on in the day there. So that's going to be the plan of action with Liam Lawson here. Yuki, I think we're going to have to obviously try and fight a bit more in the thick of it, as Tsunoda already has lost the place to Nico Hülkenberg, so must have missed that one. Hamilton immediately trying to apply pressure to Ricciardo. I mean, look at that. We've got 3 wide battles going on in front. I think that's Leclerc and Sainz. They're both trying to have a look on Lance Stroll. And they all just about narrow their way through the first corner as well there. So, yeah, Yuki just struggling a little bit early. We're going to just make sure that we manage the battery usage as well. I wish there was an option just to use, like, a little bit of battery each lap. I know there's the option, obviously, to save a little bit of battery each lap. But I wish there was the option as well, just obviously use a little bit of it early on in the race there. As, I mean, yeah, we're just struggling to keep up with some of those cars in front. Admittedly, yeah, we are on the harder tyres, though, than I believe than a lot of drivers. And you can already see, I mean, look at that, 80%, 73% for George Russell on just lap 3. This is going to be a real tyre killer afternoon for most of the drivers, and especially, yeah, Lawson. He does have a bit of a tendency to chew through his rubber as well. He's already dropping off the rear of the field slightly, but most of his rivals are on the soft, so that's not too much of a concern. There is Magnussen. He's going to have a look past Yuki Tsunoda early on. He is also, though, on the mediums, so yeah, this is going to be a really, really difficult afternoon. And like I said, I think safety cars and strategy are going to be the all-important one here, and just obviously staying out of trouble as well as best as you can. I'm a little bit disappointed in Lawson's tyre-saving ability right now. He's not doing as well as I would hope he would early on that set. But like I said, I think if we can open up the race later on, we've got to be kind of in a good spot towards the end of the afternoon with some good availability in terms of rubber as well there. So just simming forward ever so slightly early on in the GP. Now we're immediately just starting to see as other drivers starting to struggle on their tyres that Tsunoda is able to come back at them. So hopefully we're going to be able to line up a move on Kevin Magnussen pretty soon. Nope, Esteban Ocon is going to get past us instead there. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slower burn Grand Prix. Of course, we know just how easy it is to overtake down towards turn 1 with that huge DRS, as Esteban Ocon is proving right now as well then. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult race. You know, it is going to be one of those ones where you kind of see where you're at with just a few laps to go there. And of course, yeah, I can't imagine we're a million miles away from seeing our first AI into the pit lane anyway. As Tsunoda now trying to look for a move on Kevin Magnussen. So we use a bit of battery out of that final corner. We'll just let him try and deploy there and get the move back done on the Haas car. So it's important as well that you don't kind of stress out too early on when things don't quite go your way there. Engine temperature as well running really, really high. So it probably would have been worth opting for a bit less fuel and basically saving up as the Grand Prix went on. But in terms of last lap then, see, we were quicker than Albon, we were quicker than Ricciardo. Your top 10 is just kind of the top 10 you would expect there. So we're running pretty racy right now, actually, as the tyres just starting to come back to us. Hülkenberg as well is surely going to be into the pit lane pretty soon. Or if not, then he's definitely starting to struggle a bit as making our way through the final corner. Are we going to have the DRS? Not quite that time round. But you can see a 120.7 there. 3 seconds clear of Nico Hülkenberg on that lap. A second and a half clear of Daniel Ricciardo. We've got good pace in the car. Ricciardo, though, is hanging on to the coattails of George Russell. So, yeah, we've got a long way to go if we want to try and catch up to the Australian. But I think just looking after our tyres, focusing on our own race here, could prove pivotal early on, as Sainz already worried about mechanical gremlins. Let's see if we can try and make the move on Hulkenberg then through the final couple of corners. So we'll try and just push on a little bit with Yuki. There we go. That's going to make life even easier. Hulkenberg into the pit lane then as well. So we've still probably got another 13, 14 laps on these tyres. They are going to be pretty wrecked though towards the end of the stint. So if we could just get into sort of like lap 25, maybe we could go hard to the end. Or yeah, I think we'd probably need a set of softs, wouldn't we? Right towards the end of the afternoon there. But you can see how much time Hulkenberg loses, especially with a slow stop like that. Hulkenberg in the wars early on. And he is finally going to get back going again there. So, disaster for Hulkenberg. How slow was the pit stop? Fortunately, I don't think we'll get to find out. I mean, we cut that at the perfect time, didn't we? I mean, that is one of the worst ones I've ever seen on this game. So, Hulkenberg, yeah, very much in the bin now, as he's got a long way to try and take those hard compound tyres. Sainz, though, like we said, struggling here, so that might be interesting to see how he gets on. And admittedly, we are 10 seconds back from Ricciardo, who is surely going to have to pit pretty soon as well. So we're not in a particularly bad place here early on in the GP. We've just kind of got to focus on doing our own thing and taking time out of Albon and Ricciardo as well. There we go, George Russell into the pit lane then. So, yeah, the gap to Ricciardo is still floating at about 10 seconds. Russell looks like he had a pretty clean, tidy stop. Liam Lawson as well, up to P18. So he's actually doing quite well right now. Just looking after those tyres. Able to take him a fair old distance into the Grand Prix. But, yeah, how he's getting on that rubber, I think it is definitely a two-stop Grand Prix, though. So we're going to try and do hard, medium, soft with Liam. Just get quicker and quicker as the race goes on. Sonoda, it might be... I think we've got to go hard, haven't we? Unless we've got like a well-timed safety car or something like that. As there we go. Ricciardo into the pit lane then. So we're almost up inside that top 10. Engine temperature is staying fairly cool as well. So... oh, that is perfect. Ricciardo with a pit stop issue. How much time did that cost him?
Daniel Ricciardo swinging in. Oh, it's a real left that's gone too loose, though.
Yeah, definitely a few seconds held up there for Ricciardo, which is nice. That will hopefully bring us closer to him later on in the GP as well then. So, yeah, I think our plan is just to try and go quick at the end of the GP and kind of see how that pans out for us. As, yeah, I mean, we're coming out in pretty clear air right now. We're just allowing ourselves to rack up some lap times there as Gasly now locking up. So we could be in the fight for the top 10. I think a point could be doable.
The brakes couldn't cope. They took a gamble, and it was just too late.
Yeah, there we go. Just firing it off down in towards that first corner there, but luckily no major shunt or anything like that. So I think now we just need to try... there we go, Alex Albon into the pit lane then. So we can afford to push on this set of tyres. If we can get him sort of like lap 22, take the hard tyres like 30 laps, and then go for like a 15-lap blast right at the end of the GP as well there. So Sonoda doing pretty well now. Just going to try and use up a little bit that's left in these tyres. But I think, yeah, we'll dive into the pit lane then at the end of this lap. Go to those hards and hopefully see them, you know, really late into the afternoon. Basically just waiting on a safety car or something like that to strike later on there. Is all Ricciardo immediately back within 15 seconds there. So he's got a decent jump on Alex Albon still in this race. But hopefully we can get a nice, clean, tidy stop with Sonoda as well then. As starting lap 21 of the GP, he's been able to take those tyres pretty well there. And especially when we haven't tried to save them too aggressively as well. Lawson in the other car, I think, is also doing quite a decent job here, as he has to let a couple of cars by. So that's something else we've got to factor in, that obviously we won't have to do the entire race distance either. So that can actually work quite nicely for both drivers there, as Sonoda's going to come out just behind Alex Albon still in this Grand Prix. And about still, yeah, 10 seconds behind Ricciardo. But we are going to be flying towards the end of the afternoon as well then. So... yes, Lawson's starting to lose a couple of places as well. Like I said, I want to try and get him closer to lap 30 here, if possible. But we're not in a bad spot, to be honest. We're actually in a really, really good little spot in this Grand Prix there. It's just trying to sort of let the laps rack by. I mean, yeah, both of our cars are meant to be quick towards the end of the afternoon. That's kind of the big goal here. But I want to make sure as well that we don't end up in problems with some slower cars. There is already... You can see those hard tyres down to just 30% wear for Liam. So, yeah, tyres are looking pretty worn out. I just want to try and get him maybe a couple more laps. I think what we'll do is we'll attempt to box end of next lap. And then, yeah, try and take those mediums as deep into the race as he can. But, yeah, this is quite the gamble with Liam Lawson at this stage of the afternoon. But I think, yeah, it's a necessary evil that we've got to make. I've set his race target to, like, P19, I want to say. So I'm hoping that he's obviously going to be able to do that, just so we can get a little bit of extra cash in the back pocket as well. There is Sonoda. Is he closing in on Alex Albon right now? He should be a tiny bit quicker. They're pretty even, actually. The same with Ricciardo, so we're not looking too badly at the moment. As now, yeah, just starting to get lapped as well. It's really, really difficult at this stage of the afternoon, because obviously, you know, with the exception of the lapped cars, which I think we've gained on quite nicely and all of that. It's Hulkenberg now reporting mechanical issues as well. We have gained a little bit of time on Alex Albon, so I think we've got to try and go for it and try and work on an overtake here, as maybe, just maybe, we can take a little bit out of the tyres down the front straight. I think though Sonoda's going to let the McLaren by, and that immediately there, unless Albon does the same thing, is really going to cost us here, as hopefully Albon out of the final corner is going to do the same. I mean, yeah, we just need to try and get ahead there at the best possible point. I mean, come on, Albon. There we go. He's going to let him by now. Where is Sonoda closing in on the pair of them? Is he going to be able to go for a move there? He's looking from a long way back. Yuki Tsunoda thinks better of that one, luckily. Yeah, that was always going to be a day late on a dollar short. Down in towards that first corner. But now he's tucked up behind Alex Albon as well. Again, we've got to be a little bit careful that we don't overcook the engine too much. But surely now we're going to be able to make a move on Albon then and move back up into P12 then of this GP. We've lost a lot of time to Ricciardo, but that's kind of only temporary. Because, of course, he's going to lose a lot as well to some of the other cars there. As round the outside of Albon, we'll try and go. And, yeah, we'll bring it back down into neutral once again then there. So, Yuki making a power move around the outside of Ricciardo. Sorry, around the outside of Alex Albon. Hopefully, he's not going to be under too much pressure back down towards turn 1 either. And luckily, it does seem like this circuit as well just allows you to save a little bit of battery in this Grand Prix. So, yeah, let's just monitor that gap then to Ricciardo over the next few laps. Of course, he's on medium, so he's going to have to go hard at the end of the race. We are going to be on a set of the soft compounded tyre, as we took a second out of him on that lap. So, yeah, we're going to have a massive advantage over Ricciardo towards the end of the afternoon. And his next few laps are going to be really bad as well, because he's got a lot of lap traffic to let by. And that's just something we don't have to deal with here. So, things are shaping up quite nicely for us. But, of course, the other problem we've got is that the AI, you know, we are still kind of basing this all on the idea that Sainz might break down, which would be useful, but I think is still optimistic to hope for, you know, towards the end of this race. There is Albon actually making the move back past us, so I think he's trying to take a bit more out of his tyres right now. So he's down under 50% life on them. We want to try and get these, like we said, to just overlap 50, if we possibly can. And then we should be able to go through to the end of the race there. Lawson in the other car. He's up now into P20. Want to try and get him up to 19th pretty soon there. As I think Hulkenberg trying to go to the end of the afternoon. But yeah, we're doing all right. As we cross over half distance, we're doing okay at the moment. As Sonoda still just tucked up behind Alex Albon. Again, I'm not too desperate to make the overtake happen, you know, as soon as possible. But again, Yuki's going to go for it. And the gap to Ricciardo now down under 8 seconds here. So, yeah, we're doing pretty well right now. We've still got a bit more lap traffic. Because there we go, Ricciardo in. So he's going to be taking hard tyres to the end of the race. So he's going to probably gain a little bit on us over the next few laps. But then, yeah, once we get onto those soft compound tyres, we are going to be flying towards the end of the afternoon there. So that works out really nicely for us. And I guess now it is just waiting to see whether we see... Oh, we got yellow flags out. Hulkenberg's gone. Is Sainz going to have an issue, though, before the end of the race? That's the big one for us. If Sainz has an issue, then we might be able to score points. If he doesn't, then we're in trouble there. As Stroll has a lock-up down at turn 1. Hopefully we're going to be able to try and get past Zhou Guanyu as well. So there we go. Yeah, just putting in a little bit of space between us there. As who's that really struggling? Carlos Sainz as well. Just running into more and more problems here. I mean, Sainz is a lap up on us. There's Albon now into the pit lane as well. Then Ricciardo now, that gap is back under 10 seconds. So Albon has gone mediums to the end. So hopefully we won't get undercut too aggressively by him. For us, though, yeah, it really is just about managing that final stint of the GP. Or hoping for a really nicely timed safety car late on in the afternoon here. Because Ricciardo, I mean, he's pretty much... We've got to try and close in an entire stint on him towards the end of the race. Which is a tall order before the end of this one. But still, these tyres hanging on pretty nicely right now. Like I said, I want to get them to about lap 50. But yeah, we can see Ricciardo now is closing in. Oh, man, Tsunoda, those tyres. I mean, we've gone uber aggressive on the strategy here, but we've just got to try and get him a couple of laps longer. Where is Verstappen? He might lap us again, actually, by the end, so that might not be the end of the world. But yeah, just trying to keep Ricciardo at bay as best as we can. I think we're going to box then at the end of next lap. So yeah, soft tyres will go on the car to the end of the race. And yeah, it's going to be really, really tricky to try and get back past Ricciardo here. We've got a lot of time we're going to have to try and gain towards the end of the afternoon. But hopefully we should be, you know, seconds a lap faster right the way through to the end of this GP. And it might not matter anyway if Sainz doesn't have a mechanical issue. Because, of course, we're only really in the game to try and score points there. Lawson as well, his tyres have gone. So we're going to dive him into the pit lane as well. And yeah, hopefully he's going to be able to take a set of softs as well to the end of the afternoon there. But what is the gap going to be? I think we're actually going to get jumped by Miata. No, we should be ahead of Miata still, which is good. 15 laps to go then of this race. Albon is 10 seconds behind Ricciardo. We are going to be a long way further behind Albon. So we've got our work cut out towards the end of the afternoon here. We are going to be... What's that? 27 seconds back from Daniel Ricciardo here. So we need to be going 2 seconds a lap faster to the end of the GP. We have now dealt, though, with our last lap traffic against the leader. So, yeah, that works out quite nicely for us as well. Ricciardo's still going to have a few more cars to get round him. So hopefully we can start closing in on these two. But it really is just a case of how well these tyres are going to last towards the end of the afternoon. But we should be one of the quickest cars on the circuit towards the end of the race. And maybe, I think, yeah, I don't think we're going to get lapped again. But if we were, then that could prove quite pivotal, actually, towards the end of this one. We took just over 4% tyre wear out of them on the first lap. And you can see, well, this lap is going to be the indicator of what the pace is really like in the car. So as we make our way through, Ricciardo a 120.7, Albon a 119.8. We're going to do a 118.6. So we went 2 seconds quicker than Ricciardo that lap. And the gap now is down to 24 seconds. So it's going to be close towards the end of the afternoon here. But again, lap traffic is always going to play havoc towards the end of a race. And Charles Leclerc now closing in on ourselves here. So letting Leclerc by. I think we're actually going to lap Lawson as well there, which is a little bit of a shame once again for our second driver. But hopefully he's going to be able to get those tyres to the end of the afternoon. And now as well, as you can see, we're just letting by more and more of those fastest cars. So hopefully we're going to see, you know, more and more struggles for the other AI there, as the gap's still 18 seconds here with 6 laps to go. But Ricciardo, yeah, has got all of those lap traffic to deal with still. And we still went 2.5 seconds quicker than him. So this is not over late on in the day. But like we said, it might still be completely irrelevant there unless Sainz breaks down. That Ferrari desperately trying to hang on towards the end of the afternoon. Gasly as well is now out of the race. So struggled, I think, a bit too much with his tyres there. And you can see, I mean, 3 seconds taken out of him that time round. He is still going to be close by the end of this one. And I think we should be good on the tyres as well there. So I think the strategy we've opted for has worked quite nicely. Lawson maybe just struggling a little bit more on the rubber towards the end of the afternoon as well. But yeah, with just a handful of laps left then. Ricciardo now having to let more cars by. Albon as well, still struggling. So it feels like all of us are kind of going to converge on each other right towards the end of the race there. 3 laps to go now. And I think we just need to start using the battery a little bit more methodically as well. Just to try and get the maximum out of the car towards the end. Obviously, we can afford to push on the tyres as well. There is, yeah, Lawson 27 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas there, but 30 seconds ahead of Zhou Guanyu. So it has been a lonely race for our drivers at the rear of the field then. But can we take 8 seconds out of Ricciardo? I mean, he's on wrecked hard tyres. Albon is on slightly less wrecked mediums, and we are on slightly less wrecked softs. So it is looking quite close towards the end of this one. Ricciardo did a 21.1. Albon did an 18.9, so he's pushing. We've just done an 18.5, though, so yeah, it is looking pretty good for us there, as I think Ricciardo has got an Aston Martin he needs to let by as well, so it could be even more pain for the Australian here before this race is down and out. But again, I think it's starting just to look completely irrelevant for all of us here. As, yeah, just taking a little bit more time out of all of them there. Max Verstappen starts the last lap of the Grand Prix then. And yeah, so we've just got to try and push on now. Full attack mode, full deploy. We're going to take everything we've got left out of these tyres towards the end of the race and just see if we can get a little bit closer there, as Ricciardo now has let Stroll by. So that's going to take even more time out for Albon and Tsunoda here. But as we start the last lap then of the Spanish Grand Prix, Max Verstappen yet again looks to be pretty comfortable at the front of the field here. But everybody else just trying to take the last little bit of life out of their tyres here. Are we going to get close enough to Alex Albon? We have completely drained the battery on the final lap of this GP there, but closing in still on the Williams driver, as Max Verstappen will take the win here in Barcelona. But I think we might get both race targets with our drivers as well there. Like I said, quite happy in the end, of course, that Sainz didn't have an issue. We just didn't quite have enough there to fight with Ricciardo and Alex Albon in the end. I think, had things just gone slightly differently, it would have made the difference there. But what that is proving, this car is capable of fighting when we get a good weekend. The upgrades are slowly bringing it in the right direction. And that is 4 races in a row where we have really hassled to be the best of the backmarkers there. That's quite important. 13th for Yuki, 19th for Liam. Another pretty disappointing race on the whole, but there's positives to be had.
Yuki Tsunoda makes his way back after the events of that race.
And with a 13th place finish, that sadly means there's no points to be claimed.
Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
6 wins now in this season, they're not flagging. A mighty impressive victory.
And by the looks of things here in Barcelona, the party's only just beginning. Well, Karun, how do you think they'll be feeling in the team garage at the end of that?
It was a strangely mixed weekend for them. We saw one driver put in a strong performance, but it was a different story for the other. Definitely positives there, though.
And with that, our time in Barcelona is done.
Next time, the teams will be forging ahead at full throttle through the Styrian Forest. The Austrian Grand Prix is right around the corner.
Well, there we go then. We get to look forward to a bumper episode next time out with a sprint weekend in Austria. But Max Verstappen, yeah, once again takes the win here. And I think he'll probably win again next time out as well. Lando Norris P2 ahead of Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc there, with Perez and Sainz all finishing on the lead lap there. Alonso, or both Aston Martins and both Mercedes, 1 lap down in the end. And then pretty much everybody else 2 laps down or more there. Lawson P19... it wasn't fantastic, but he got the better of Zhou Guanyu there, and I think he is slowly bringing his confidence back in the right direction as well. That means in terms of the championship, Verstappen now with a 27-point lead at the top of the table, so an all-important buffer if anything goes wrong. Good points for Ferrari, though, but ultimately they couldn't quite challenge the Red Bulls or the McLarens on raw pace this weekend. And yeah, your top 10 in the championship, all scoring the points here. Yeah, I think we're going to be in for some good battles between us, Ricciardo, and Alex Albon. Constructors-wise, no changes there either. Red Bull open up their gap over McLaren by just 1 extra point as well, with Ferrari still in P3. Aston ahead of Mercedes, and yeah, nobody else obviously scoring points either there. Pit stop-wise, we got absolutely nothing. Nothing to show for it this weekend, as Ferrari make huge gains and now get ahead of Red Bull as well. And yeah, we are still down in P8 in that standing there, so not ideal for us. 2.5 second stop from Yuki is actually pretty decent, but apparently not good enough to see us inside the top 10 there. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Austrian Grand Prix.